So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper of the day as well as of the weekend because we could not come live. So when we are talking about the weekend news, we will be trying to cover the important articles which mostly when we are talking about the newspaper, the things are repetitive in nature. So we will be taking those articles and summarize up over here. Okay. Now we'll start with the practice question as usual, and then there is this discussion on the constitution. We will be talking about the part 1 of the constitution, that is basically related to your nation and the territories, etc. Okay, like when we are talking about the nature of the, you can say, our state, that is when we are talking about the state, that means that we are talking about the nation over here. Okay, in the international terminology, we almost most of the time refer a nation or a country as a state. Okay, so we'll be talking about the part 1 of the constitution, that is basically related to the union and the territories. Okay, then second, we will be talking about the 3-4 important articles from the newspaper that Biden drops out of the race. Here you can see on the front, here there is this article. We will be discussing this article. We will see what are the impacts of, you can say, Biden getting out of the race, what will be the impact on the India. Okay, then we'll see Bhil Pradesh demand, mostly in the areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra and MP. There is a population of Bhils which is living over there, and maximum of them are living in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so basically now there is this demand that they want a separate state. Okay, this demand is old but it has resurfaced recently, so we will be talking about that as well. Then Sindhu Saraswati civilization, so there has been certain changes which has been made in the NCERT, so we will be talking about that particular article as well. Okay, so let's start. There will be a for your own read, there will be one or two article which will be simple, so you can go through that, and then in the end there will be a practice question. Okay, we have seen the front page of the newspaper, so we can go ahead. Before that, here you can see budget session begins. That is the highlight of the day, because when we are talking about the budget session now, last time government has come up with the interim budget, now they will be coming up the full-fledged budget. Okay, so that is why the session has started, so we will be waiting for the budget and we will be discussing that. When we are talking about the budget, there might be a special video as well, but let's moving on right now. Here you will see the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. Where does monsoon strike first on the India mainland? Okay, so when we are talking about the Indian mainland, or when we are talking about our territories, you know that there is this, when we are talking about the territory in Andaman and Nicobar is also included. Okay, but when we are talking about the mainland territory, that is the mainland or the part of the subcontinent. Okay, so here you can see on that we have coastline something like this. Okay, so the first strike of the monsoon is like this over here. Okay, and this state over here is basically your Kerala. Okay, if we are talking about the whole India as a country, or India as a union, you can say as a body, if we see and we include the union territories as well, at that point of time you will see here we have Andaman and Nicobar, and first it strikes over here, then it comes like this and move to India like this. Okay, so that is about, if we are talking about the mainland, then we will see that Kerala is the place where monsoon strikes first. If we take all together the whole territory of the India, then we will see that Andaman Nicobar is the place. Okay, so option B would be your right answer over here. Now moving further to the next part, that is know your constitution, know our constitution. We have discussed the parts, we have discussed the preamble. We will be starting with the first part over here, that is part 1. Article 1 to 4 will be there. We will be discussing the important articles, and the name of the part is Union and its territories. Okay, so let's see. We will start with the article number 1. Okay, when we are talking about the union and its territory, from article number 1 to 4, these are important. When we talk about article number 1, that gives the name and the territory of the union. Okay, we know that when we are talking about India, India is a union of states. Union of states means it is the union of states, and now when we are talking about these states, these are basically integral part of this country. They do not have right to secede, or they do not have right to get out of that particular union. Okay, so that is the union of state here. That is why we call it as a territory of the union. Okay, when we are talking about the nature of our you can say union, and the kind of governance system, or the kind of administrative system we have in our country, we have the federal system wherein all these states are coming together and they are basically taking the country forward. Other than that, these states have their own governments. Okay, but the thing is, they are all under one single territory, that is basically India. Okay, now coming to the article number 1, clause 1, that is India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of state. Okay, so that is the name which has been mentioned, India and Bharat, and shall be a union of state. They have made it clear that it is a union. There is no doubt about that. The states and the territories thereof shall be specified in the first schedule. There is this first schedule wherein all the name of the states and the union territories are given. So basically everything which is we are adding in the territory, okay, so that will be part of the first schedule. The territory of India shall comprise of the territories of the state. Okay, when we are talking about territory of India, the you can say the word union, and there is this word that is territory. Okay, when we are talking about union of states, we are saying that India is a union of states, so all the states are part of it. But when we are talking about the territory of the country is more than the union of the states, because when we are talking about the states, we know that there are certain states that we have states, and then when we are talking about these states, and then when we come to this territory, we know that there are certain union territories also which are part of it. Earlier, before that, when we are talking about the Sikkim as associate states, etc., so there were other terms also were used in the past, but the thing is right now we have states and the union territories. Okay, I hope that is clear. So now here you will see the territory will be comprising of territories of the state, the union territory specified in the first schedule, and such other territories as may be acquired. Okay, so basically what they are saying, that territory means that first all the states, their territories, plus all the union territories, plus any such area or the territory which we will be occupying or acquiring. Okay, so that is basically you can say territory. So we can say that the expanse of the territory is more than the union. Okay, talking about the geographical area. Okay, so that is about it. The territory of India shall comprise of the all the states, union territories, and such territory which may be acquired later. Then coming to the article 2nd, admission or the establishment of the new state. Okay, whenever you have to make a new state, that means that parliament has to make a law. Okay, so this power has been given to the parliament. Here you can say parliament may by law admit into the union or the states a new state on such terms and conditions as they think fit. Okay, so basically parliament here has the power to create a new state. Now coming to the article 3, which is quite important, the formation of the new states, alteration of the areas, boundaries, and the existing names. Okay, so if there is a change in the boundary of the state, if we are carving out one state out of other, okay, or if we are trying to change the name of a state, in that case you have to use article number 3. Okay, here parliament by law, here also parliament has the power over here. Form a new state by a separation of a territory from any state by uniting two or more states, or parts of the states by uniting any territory as a part of any state. So basically what they are saying, that they can take any state, they can you can say if they want to make a new state, what they can do is they can take some part of the another state and they will add it to it. Otherwise they can curtail its boundary. So basically any kind of change in the area of the state if they are doing, okay, and in that case you will see that that is basically done under the article 3. Okay, now here we are talking about the alterations. In article 2, we have talked about the establishment of a new state. So don't get confused. If we are trying to create a new state altogether which did not have any existence earlier, in that case we will be going for the article 2. Now if we are actually changing the boundaries or the name of the existing state, in that case we will be going for the article number 3. Okay, here you will see increase the area of any state, diminish the area of any state, alter the boundaries of any state, alter the name of any state. These are certain things. These are the 5 things which are under the provisions of the article number 3. Bill on the recommendation of the president. For any such alteration, if you are trying to go for any kind of changes by the parliamentary law, for that bill you have to take a recommendation from the president first. Okay, and president refers bill to the legislature of that state for expressing their views. Okay, so basically president will send it to the states which are involved. Okay, they will there will be exchange of the views, but these views are not binding, first of all. Second thing is president will give you a specific amount of time, in within there you have to tell your views. Okay, so that is about this particular article number 3. Okay, So basically this is your part 1, which is important for you. When we are talking about the composition of India as a union, we will see that India is a union of states. Okay, when we are talking about the territory and union, the territory is a broader term because we are including the states as well as union territory as well as all the areas which we might occupy in the future as well. Okay, so that is about the territory. Then coming to the article 2, article 2 is about establishing a new state, and article 3 which is about the changing or the change in the boundary or the name of the states. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now we can move further with the next part. We'll start our discussion of the newspaper. Okay, so hold on a second. Okay, coming to the first article of the day, that is basically Biden drops out of White House race, endorse VP Kamala Harris. Okay, so when we are talking about the VP Kamala Harris, that is basically vice president, and now she will be running for the president here. US President Joe Biden on Sunday abruptly abandoned his campaign for a second term under intense pressure from the fellow Democrats, okay, from their own party, and and threw his support to the Vice President Kamala Harris to lead their party, okay, to stop former President Donald Trump from returning to the White House. So basically, this is kind of a Mahagathbandhan which happens in India as well. But the thing is, when we are talking about the domestic politics of USA, that is quite different from India, and here they are trying to actually keep out Donald Trump from the White House, and that is why they have actually seen that whoever has the chance of winning, they are actually going for that. So we will be talking about this particular article. US President Biden withdraw his name from the US elections. Long time hopeful for this decision, age, health, etc. Many reasons are given. Okay, the concrete reason is not there, but the thing is, when we are talking about age, health, these are the superficial reasons, but mostly the reasons are political over here. Voices raised against him even in the Democratic Party. Okay, so on the party lines, if we are talking about, that means that there is some kind of fault which is going on inside the party, and that is why they have taken this decision. Many media polls claim that Biden is leading the final election. Joe Biden nominates Vice President Kamala Harris as his running mate. Kamala Harris is currently leading the race for the post of president, which is I have told you, but it will depend on the nomination process of the Democratic Party. Inside the party, you know that there is a particular process. Okay, so they have gone for the nomination, but the thing is, inside the party they will actually scrutinize it and then they will come up with the name. Okay, so if she wins the nomination process inside the party, okay, she will be the first black woman to contest on the Democratic Party's ticket. Okay, so this will be the first time if she gets to the nomination part. Okay, it will be the first time that she is contesting on a Democratic Party ticket, and she will be the first black woman to contest for the election of president on the Democratic Party tickets. Okay, so this is the news event which has happened. Now what are the impacts on India? Okay, now India is closely watching the elections because we are strategic partners. There are various things, so their domestic politics actually matters for us as well. Okay, when we are talking about Donald Trump's time, we know that we had good relations with them, and in the time of Joe Biden, we had the relations which were good. But the thing is, recently there were certain fault lines or certain kind of tensions which has involved. Okay, these tensions are related to the you can say killing of that Khalistani separatist, and other than that, there was this you can say attempt which was done. And when we are talking about this particular Khalistani separatist, that is Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. Okay, so basically there was this allegation, okay, plot, only the conspiracy was there, but it was said that there are certain Indians which are involved in that. Okay, India is trying to cooperate with the investigation over here, but the thing is, because of this particular allegation, there was certain fault lines which has been appeared. Other than that, also there are trade related disputes when we are talking about, okay, because we are in a surplus with USA, and USA wants to balance that. Okay, so that is there also. India will have to redesign its diplomacy as per the new national expectations. Okay, so obviously, if there is a domestic change which is happening over here, then accordingly we have to change our policies as well. Okay, if the Democrat government comes over there, we have to change our path. If Republicans comes, then also we have to take decisions accordingly. Okay, so that is the impact on Indian foreign policy. Now coming to the next article, which is related to why Bhil Pradesh demands is back in Rajasthan. Okay, now I'll be talking about the area first. When we are talking about India, we know that there are various tribes which are living over here, and when these states were carved out, these tribes mostly were the shy of the, you can say, the interaction with the mainstream people. When we are talking about the Bhils is a prominent tribe. They have taken participation in the various movements as well, okay, and they have been active. So when we are talking about the Bhils, these demands are not new. They have been there at the time of the British era as well. Even at a point of time, Britishers has considered it, okay. But the thing is, later there was various political issues, and then right now when we are talking about this particular incident, wherein these demands has resurfaced, okay, there was this you can say kind of summit or the congregation which has happened, okay. So we will be talking about that particular thing. Now when we are talking about the Bhils, I would like to tell you that mostly the maximum population that is in Madhya Pradesh, and then you can say in Gujarat, then Rajasthan, then we have some Bhils in Maharashtra as well, okay. So these are the prominent, you can say, states where the population of Bhils is found, okay. MP being the, you know, having the inhabiting the largest population of Bhils, okay. Now coming to the demand. The demands of the Bhil tribal community for a separate state is gaining momentum in Rajasthan. Mahasammelan at Mangarh Dham in Banswara. Now this particular place, that is Mangarh Dham in Banswara. Banswara, you can say that it is the tribal district in Rajasthan, okay. So that is prominent over there. This is the place where they have gone for the congregation on the Mahasammelan, and they have actually asked for a separate state for Bhil Pradesh by carving out 49 districts from the 4 states. These 4 states are there, and they are asking that there will be 49 districts which will be coming out of it, and then they are demanding a separate state from them because the population of Bhils is present in the 49 districts. The Bharat Adivasi Party formed last year as a breakaway faction of the Bharatiya Tribal Party. These, when we are talking about this party's name is not necessary, but the thing is that the event has happened, so I have mentioned it. The BAP, which was founded by the first time MP from Banswara Rajkumar Raut, has included the demands for the Bhil Pradesh in their Lok Sabha poll manifesto, okay. So with the poll, this story starts, and now the you can say this is getting tracked, okay. Now 49 districts across 4 contiguous states, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Maharashtra, and there will be 12 districts from Rajasthan. There are nearly 1.7 crore Bhils across the country. 1.7 crore Bhils across the country. Mostly you can say they are there in the Madhya Pradesh, that is 60 lakh. Most of them are there in the Madhya Pradesh, okay. Then after that, Gujarat, Rajasthan and Maharashtra, that is the distribution of the population. If we are talking about when we are talking about the necessity of the separate Bhil state or the Bhil Pradesh, so their leaders have said that we are asking it, or we are actually going for it because there is a, you know, good population which is living in that particular area. There are various states which has been made on the linguistic lines, and Bhils have their own language, their own culture. So these are the parameters for which they are asking for it. So basically they have said that the demand is based on the geography, culture and the language, okay. The language they speak is Bhili. So you can remember the name of the language. Demand for the Bhil Pradesh date back in 1930. Okay, there was this person, the name is Govind Giri Banjara. So he was the activist at that point of time, and he has called for the separate Bhil state. At that point of time also, as I told you, there was actually you know, various rebellions etc. were there, and Bhils has taken participation as well. Here you will see he has mobilized a gathering of thousands of the tribal at the Mangarh Hills on November 17, 1993. Around 1500 tribals were massacred by the British for their rebellion. Okay, so that is one incident which has happened. Other than that, the British government even drafted a map for separate Bhil state in 1900s. Which is proof that it is not a newly created demand. Okay, so basically they are saying that the demand was already there. Even after the independence, there were, you know, various times when this demand came, and again you can say that time and again it has resurfaced. Okay, and now that is there. So for our examination point of view, we can remember that there is this demand for the Bhil Pradesh from the states of Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh being the prominent state wherein you can say maximum number of Bhils are living. In India, there are around 1.7 crore Bhils which are there, and other than that, if we talk about the language of this particular community, that is Bhili, and the demand of the separate Bhil Pradesh is based on the geography, language and the culture. Okay, so that is about this article. Now we can move further to the next one. Now, Harappan society is Sindhu Saraswati civilization in NCERT's new textbook. Okay, so recently there was some revised form of textbooks has came, and they are as per the 2023 guidelines which are there. Okay, So in that they have actually made some changes which we will be talking about. Harappan civilization as a Sindhu Saraswati and the Indus Saraswati civilization to multiple mentions of the river, that is Saraswati. Okay, so in this new books or the new text, we have seen that it is referred as the, you can say, Sindhu Saraswati civilization or the Indus Saraswati civilization. Then there are various references to the Saraswati river which we think that that is now you can say is not present, or you can say this is there are certain when we are talking about the theological or the mythological facts, they are saying that it is, you know, moving inside the you can say the lands. But the thing is, when we are talking about the Saraswati, there are various references which are there in the ancient texts. Okay, so that is why now they have included it based on certain evidence they must have. But the thing is, they have made these changes, and these changes are important for us because obviously the Indus Valley civilization and the Harappan civilization, these are having specific attention which is given by the UPSC in the examination. So please keep a track on that. Now, from referring to the Harappan civilization as the Sindhu Saraswati and the Indus Saraswati civilization to multiple mentions of the Saraswati river, including noting its desiccation as one of the reason for the decline of the Harappan society. Okay, so basically they have mentioned that this is the decline of the Saraswati river is one of the reason of the, you can say, decline of the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, the India having had a prime meridian of its own. When we are talking about the you can say prime meridian, that is 0 degree meridian, etc., these are basically the reference from which the time is calculated in the present time. So basically here they have mentioned that India at that point of time had their own prime meridian that was called as Ujjayini meridian. Okay, we have this place that is Ujjain, and on the name of that is this Ujjayini meridian. Okay, so moving further, exploring society, India and beyond. This is the name of the textbook. Earlier, when we are talking about the 6th class, there were various sections like history, polity, etc., etc. But now they have clubbed it under a one name, that is social sciences, and they have included this book, that is Exploring Society, India and Beyond. The National Curriculum Framework of the School Education 2023. On the basis of this, they have made these changes. Okay, unlike earlier texts where separate text book for the history, political science and the geography were there, the new textbook is sole resource of the social science. Okay, so that is one textbook. If we are talking about the overview, here you will see NCERT's new class 6 social science textbook Exploring Society, India and Beyond reflects the revision aligned with the National Curriculum Framework for School Education 2023. It integrates history, political science and the geography into single volume structure, that is of the social sciences. Now here you will see historical emphasis if we talk about. So the textbooks now refer Harappan civilization as the Sindhu Saraswati or the Indus Saraswati. That is for you to remember. Okay. Then highlighting the prominence of the Saraswati river in the ancient India, acknowledge the river's role in the Harappan decline, citing desiccation of as a contributing factor alongside the climate change. Okay, so that is the thing which they have changes, and these are the historical emphasis which has been given in this particular change. Now talking about the geographical context, map in the textbook identifies Saraswati river known as the Gaggar Hakra river, okay, alongside the Indus and its tributaries, emphasizing the geographical significance in the ancient India settlements like the Rakhigarhi and Ganveriwala. Okay, so these are the two places which can be asked in UPSC because they have mentioned in the NCERT textbook. These are new places. When we are talking about Rakhigarhi, Rakhigarhi has been the prominent part of the Harappan civilization. This is the name which has been mentioned earlier as well, but since it is in news, so please keep a note of that. Okay. Other than that, when we are talking about the Saraswati and Sindhu, they have also mentioned they have mentioned the Punjab. Okay, the way it has been given the name, that is the place where the 5 rivers are confluencing. Okay, so that is there. Other than that, if we are talking about the culture and the scientific insights, the textbook includes the insights into traditional Indian knowledge such as the Sanskrit pronunciation and reference to Ujjayini meridian, which we have already talked, and ancient prime meridian passing through the Ujjain in India. This highlights early Indian contribution to the astronomy and the geographical studies. Now this whatever I have written over here, this itself is an answer for you, so you can actually take a screenshot or keep the PDF with you. Now structural changes, the decision to consolidate disciplines into a single volume, which we have already seen, that is to streamline the learning and emphasize thematic interconnectedness and preparing students for the more integrated study. When we are talking about different you can say disciplines, let's say You have taken history, you have taken political science, you have been studying geography. These are the three different disciplines. But when we are talking about reading them together as a one book in the social sciences, we will be going for the integrated study. We will be seeing all of them together. That means that we will be able to make connections with one part, connection of one part with the another part. Now that is important for in all the students when we are talking about the what they who are there in the school, as well as for all the students who are preparing for the competition examinations. Okay, because interconnectedness, or when we are talking about the specifically mains answer writing, interconnectedness is very important. Okay, so that has been given the emphasis. And why this is important? Because that will make you visualize things in a way that you can remember, or you can understand all these things. You don't have to go for the mugging up. Okay, so that is about this particular article. And now coming to the next one, complaint against Bengal government, Supreme Court to look into the immunity governor under Article 361. Okay, now there was this sexual harassment charges, or you can say allegation, which has been pressed against the Bengal governor. Okay, so there are certain immunities. You know that when we are talking about the president and the governor, they have been given certain immunities in the civil as well as criminal matters. Okay, now since this is a criminal matter, so there are certain questions which has been raised. We'll be talking about that. But the thing is, right now we will not go into the allegations etc., because obviously that is for Supreme Court to decide, not for us. But the thing is, we will be going into the Article 361. Okay, now if there is an immunity which is provided, now let's say this is the charges of sexual harassment. Okay, and at that point of time when we are talking about the charges of sexual harassment, it is imperative that we go for the investigation at a very earliest, so that evidence won't be tampered. Okay, so now in that case, if there is an immunity which has been given to the governor, okay, that means that when we are talking about criminal immunity under Article 361, that you cannot go for filing an FIR, or you can say you cannot investigate governor or president who are in the office. Okay, you have to wait for them to get out of the office, and then only you can go for the investigation. That means that if there is a term of 5 years and if he has just started, that means that you have to wait for the 5 years. Okay, now what is the recourse which the victim has over here, okay, or the person who has alleged the sexual offense, what kind of alternatives they will have? So that is the issue right now in front of the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will look into it. Okay, now coming to over here you will see they agreed to examine the question of immunity to the governors from the kind of criminal prosecution granted under the Article 361 of the Constitution. So basically they are saying that here court will be going for the checking out the legalities over here. The petition raised issue as regards the interpretation of the clause 2 of Article 361, more particularly when the criminal proceedings would be constructed to have been instituted in the terms of governing provision of the law. So basically they are saying that what will happen when there will be you can say issue like this which has happened, and there are immunities which has been given to the governor. Okay, now you can go through this particular article, you can read through it, because there is nothing concrete which is given in the article. What is important for us is that Article 361 of the Constitution. Okay, now under Article 361 of the Constitution, that deals with the immunity to the president as well as governor. Both of these constitutional posts has been given the immunity over here. Okay, hold on. Yeah, both of these constitutional posts has been given the you can say immunity over here. It states that they shall not be answerable to any court for exercise and performance of the powers and duty in his office. So one thing is that whatever they are doing during the time of their office, that they are not actually answerable to any court of law. Okay, for any act done or purporting to be done by him in the exercise or performance of those power and duties. Whatever power and duties which has been given by the Constitution to the president and the governor, and if they are using this power and they are performing certain duties, they will not be questioned in the law. Okay, so that is the basically you can say basic idea here. When we are talking about the crucial sub clauses, we have seen Article 361 is talking about the immunity. There are two sub clauses which are given, Article 361 clause 1 and 2. We will be talking about that these two clauses are saying that no criminal proceeding whatsoever will be initiated or continued against the president or the governor of the state in any court during his term of office. Now one thing is that no criminal proceedings whatsoever, that means that is the blanket, or you can say blanket immunity has been given in the case of the criminal offenses. Okay, as far as he is in the office. That is one thing. Second, no process for the arrest or the imprisonment of the president or the governor of the state shall issue from any court during his term of office. Second thing is, you will not be arrested for that. Okay, so that is there. When we are talking about the civil immunities, you have to give a 2 months notice. Okay, so that is there. But when we are talking about the criminal offences, there is blanket immunity which has been given. Okay, so these are the two clauses wherein you cannot go for any kind of criminal proceedings, you cannot go for any kind of arrest. Okay, so these two things are there. Now coming forward, in front of the Supreme Court, there were certain cases which has come, and in that cases Supreme Court has given certain verdicts. We will be talking about that. In Rameshwar Prasad versus Union of India, in this case Supreme Court outlined immunity enjoyed by the governor even on the allegation of personal malafides. Okay, so you can say in that case also immunity is there. Now when we are talking about the personal malafides, again they are talking about the, you can say, acts which are done during the performance of the duties. Okay, but the thing is, this particular law did not talk about the criminal complaints. Okay, it held that the governor enjoy complete immunity. Okay, the ruling is indeed not for the criminal complaints. So that is there. When we are talking about the civil ones or the decisions taken by the president or the governor for the performance of their duty, in that case, even if there is a question of personal malafide, okay, they are immune. Okay, so that is there, which was given in the Rameshwar Prasad case. But that was not for the criminal proceedings. Now coming to the other precedents which were there, precedents where criminal actions were halted till a governor completes his office. In 2017, Supreme Court allowed fresh charges of criminal conspiracy against the various leaders in 1992 demolition of the Babri Masjid. Okay, this demolition of Babri Masjid that happened in 1992, there were certain allegations made on the political leaders as well. However, the trial did not take place for the former UP Chief Minister Kalyan Singh. At that point of time, he was the Chief Minister of UP. But when these proceedings were started, at that point of time, he was a governor in Rajasthan. Okay, so that is why he was immune from these, you can say, proceedings. So now, till the time he comes out of the office, there won't be any kind of criminal proceedings again. Okay, so that has happened in the past, on the basis of which now Supreme Court has to decide in this particular case what will happen, because the charges are basically, when we are talking about the degree of the charges, which is high over here, and that is why this particular issue was in news. So we have discussed about the Article 361, we have discussed the two sub clauses, we have discussed the criminal as well as the civil immunity which has been provided to the governor and the president. Now moving further to the next article. Government considers 50,000 crore schemes to incentivize states for the agricultural reforms. You know that after the 3 farm laws were taken back in 2020 and 2021, at that point of time, after that we did not go for any kind of changes in the structures of the, you can say, agriculture. Okay, now in the third term they have actually come up with again some plan which are related to the agriculture, and 50,000 crore scheme is there to incentivize the state of agriculture. Now in this particular plan, they have not talked about anything concrete, they have just said that we will be actually focusing on certain things, and I'll tell you what these things are. Okay, and these things actually has been suggested by the, you can say, Finance Commission various times, so, and that is why they will be taking up this. Okay, these has been recommendation of the 15th Finance Commission. Okay, so in this particular plan they have actually broadened the recommendations. Okay, now when we are talking about the 3 farm laws which came, they have actually gone for the various kind of reforms, but these reforms, or you can say the farmers at that point of time, they were not ready for it, and in being in the democracy, they have gone for the protest, and government has to take these laws back. Okay, so that is a good example if you are going for any kind of case study. Okay, anyways, now here they are saying that basically the center is considering a new scheme with outlay of 50,000 crore to incentivize the state to adopt the agriculture reforms. Now what state is doing is that they said that we will be giving you the money, but the thing is we will give you the money on the basis of performances. As far as you are going for the reforms, on the basis of the reforms we will be giving the money. Okay, so let's say center has given a list of, let's say, ABCD, that you have to do this. If you do A, you will be given a particular amount of fund. If you go for A, B and C, you will be given particular amount of fund. So performance based incentives they will be given. Okay, and there are various stakeholders which has been involved over here. Anyways, will allow states to avail central funding to implement farm sector reforms related to the agriculture marketing, contract farming and the land leasing. Okay, these are the, when we are talking about the Niti Aayog, they have also gone for the India's Amrit Kal, mobilizing the nation to sustain fast growth. Okay, so this was kind of a presentation which has been given by the Niti Aayog, and on the basis of this presentation the government has actually gone for the certain changes, and they have said that on the basis of this particular you can say presentation, they have come up with the idea of this particular scheme. Okay, efforts to identify farm sector related regulatory and the institutional reforms under the transformative interventions, that has been discussed in this particular, you can say, PPT. Okay, now when we are talking about Amrit Kal, they have mentioned Amrit Kal over here. So when we are talking about Amrit Kal, it is a period of 25 years from 2022 to 2047, and our aim is to go for the Viksit Bharat by them. Okay, anyway, moving further, now there are long pending seed bill raising public investment in the agriculture to 5% of the gross value added. So basically what they are trying to do here is that, once they are going for the agriculture reform, second they are trying to increase the participation of the private sector as well. Okay, anyways, now 15th Finance Commission has actually gone for the various recommendations. Okay, and these are the law which were there, which has been actually passed by the parliament in 2020, but since they have been repealed, so this is not important for us. Now coming to the what they are trying to do at this particular point of time. So here you can say they have selected 4 areas and parameters for performance based incentives for the state, and these 4 areas are: first is land lease reforms, second is sustainable and the efficient water used in the agriculture, export promotions and the contribution towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat. So these are the 4 basic, you can say, pillars on which this scheme will be you can say based. Okay, so that is about this particular article, and there is no concrete thing which has been given. Just know that these are 4-5 things which you can remember for your mains answer writing. Okay, now moving further, Assam 700 old modems to be considered for the World Heritage Site. Now 700-year-old mound burial system. Here you can see there is this, in this particular picture, there is a mound which has been created, and under which there was a person who has been buried from a particular dynasty. Okay, so here from the time of the Ahom dynasty, so please remember that actually there are certain these molds which are there, mounds are there, and these mounds are now considered as a nomination for the you can say tag of World Heritage Site. Okay, so that you can remember. Here you can see the 700-year-old mound burial system of Ahom dynasty, the moidems from Assam, will be considered for the nomination of the World Heritage Site list. If the nomination comes through, it will become the first cultural site on the prestigious list from the northeastern region. Now we have other kind of heritage sites which are there, but in the form of cultural one, it will be the first one over here. Okay, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the 46th session of WHC, which is being held in India for the first time. So that is also important for us when we are talking about WHC, that is World Heritage Committee. Okay, so they are meeting in India this time, so this is the first time it is happening, and we are nominating our Assam these moidems which are there, and these moidems are basically belonging from the Ahom's dynasty. Okay, so that is enough for you to remember now. Moving further, there was this particular subvention scheme. There was this controversy which started in you can say in Delhi. There are some builders, they have actually gone for the taking some you can say they have actually sold the flats, and they have said that they will be giving the possession after the construction. Okay, there are various people who are having this dream of having their own home, and they have said that they don't have money, so they have come up with the subvention scheme. Okay, under the subvention scheme, what happens, and if you don't have the money, you can just go for the you can say 10% money as you can say a token money, or you can say in the start you have to pay in the advance. The rest 80% will be given by the banks in the form of loan, and these money will directly be given to the contractor or the you can say who are going for the constructions. Okay, so it will be given directly to them, and at the end, or you can say at the time of the possession, the rest 10% has to be given. Now the thing is, this loan is in the name of the owner, and this has been directly given to the contractor. Okay, now in case this contractor is fleeing from here, or contractor left and they have actually gone for the fraud, in that case, since the loan is in the name of the owner, they have to pay it back. Now the thing is that has happened in certain cases, and that is why this subvention scheme was in news. Okay, so they won't ask you this, just know that what was the controversy which has happened. Okay, but then Supreme Court has come to the rescue of these owners, and they have said that no kind of harassment will be done or torture will be done to these owners, because they have not taken your money. Money is with that particular person. Here you will see, no coercive action on the home buyers, said the court, granted relief by Supreme Court buyers bearing brunt of the subvention scheme, slums, builders and banks. Okay, so that is there, not important, just know that what is subvention scheme. Moving further, that is next is Delhi cautious as Dhaka in seas over 100 kills in the anti-reservation protest. There is a particular kind of reservation which is provided in the Bangladesh. Okay, and because of this particular reservation, there are certain section of the students which are actually protesting, and the condition in Bangladesh is not very good, because they on this particular protest there was some action which has been taken, and nearly some 100 people has been killed, more than 100 people has been killed. Now this is the event which has happened. What is important for us is that how it will impact us or how we are seeing it. Okay, so first see, protests in Bangladesh are driven by the opposition to the government job quota, particularly the 30% reserved for the families of freedom fighters. Now when we are talking about the families of the freedom fighter, the Mukti Jodha, or the time when we are talking about the Indo-Pakistan war, that is 1971, we have gone for the war and we have created Bangladesh. Okay, at that point of time Bangladesh also was fighting for the independence, and they have this Mukti Jodhas, and those were considered as the freedom fighters, and it was said that they will be given the you can say reservation. The Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's comments questioning the fairness of these quotas sparked outrage and escalated the protests. Okay, now here you will see, the quota system also includes reservation for the women, indigenous groups and the underdeveloped district, but the critics argue that it favors the political elites. Okay, now Bangladesh government the response includes curfew, internet shutdowns and any army deployment. All these things has happened, and there was this violence which has happened. India has maintained a cautious stance. Okay, now how India is reacting to it, because since it is an internal matter of their you can say domestic politics. Okay, so we should not go for the interference. Okay, at one point we can say that we will go we can talk about the humanitarian grounds, but the thing is, right now when we are talking about the relations which are fragile between Bangladesh and when we are talking about the relations are good with the Bangladesh, but the thing is, when we are talking about the influence of the China which is increasing in this particular sphere, we have to be walking on a thin line when we are talking about any kind of comments which we are making on the domestic politics of that particular country. So that is why we have taken a cautious stance. India has maintained a cautious stance, describing the situation as an internal matter for the Bangladesh. Indian authorities have facilitated the return of Indian nationals, including the students, amid the unrest. The protest highlight the deeper issues of the political representation, economic disparities and the historical legacies in the Bangladesh. We will not go into the political issue of Bangladesh, but the thing is, what is the reservation? You can go through this particular you can say slide over here. 56% of the government jobs are reserved under the current quota system. 30% of the descendants of the 1971 Liberation War of Freedom fighters, and 10% backward administrative districts, 10% for women, 5% of the economic ethnic minority groups, and 1% for the physically challenged. Okay, so this is the breakup of you can breakdown of the reservation, which is not important for us. Just know that for the sections of the freedom fighters, women, and those are who are basically physically challenged, etc., they have given the reservation. Okay, now the protesters demands reforms of the system, saying that it denies job to the meritorious students. Every year 3,000 government jobs open up for the 4 graduates. Okay, so that is the issue over there. So you don't have to remember all these things, just know that what was the issue we have discussed and what the stance India has taken. Okay, now moving further to the next one, that is basically Masho Piro. Okay, Mashko Piro, this is basically a tribe which has been recently has been in the news. Okay, so we will be talking about that. It is the largest uncontacted tribe in the world who lives in the Amazon rainforest of the southeastern Peru. Okay, when we are talking about the area of southeast Peru, here you can say there was this place, and here they are concentrated. Okay, we will be talking about that. Okay, Now Masco Piro tribe, one of the world's hundreds or uncontacted tribes. There are various tribes which are not contacted, or they are being left out of the mainstream because they are shy of the contact. Okay, and to make sure that their privacy is intact, so we have also left them in uncontacted. So there are nearly 100 odd tribes, and one of them is that, and this is the largest one. Okay, so here you will say these incredible images shows that the very large number of the uncontacted Masco Piro people are living just a few miles from the where loggers are poised to start operations. Now the problem is, now these people are looking for new locations. They are actually moving from out in and out from their areas, because there are, you can say, when we are talking about the timber logging or the timber related business and the timber falling which is happening in the Amazons. Okay, so there are various people which has actually come up till this particular area. Okay, and that is why they are trying to move away from that, because they are shy of the contact, and that is why they have been in news. They have been exploring other options in the areas of the Brazil, etc. They have been seen in the Brazil. When we are talking about this particular community, earlier they were not over here. Okay, they were somewhere else, but then there was various things which has happened. When we are talking about the colonial times, etc., they have been replaced from that particular area. Okay, and they found shelter in this particular area. Okay, and now they are being replaced from that particular area as well, and so that is why they have been in news. For us, you can just remember that this is the name of the tribe and this is the area where they are found. Okay, because they will ask you that this particular tribe was in news or this particular area was in news. That's all. Okay, they will not go into the details of all these things. Okay, so that is about the here you can see that when we are talking about the area. Okay, so the area is Madre de Dios. Okay, so this is the name of the area which is over here, and this is in the southeastern Peru. Okay, Peru is in South American continent. Okay, so that is about to remember for you. And now this is the you can say paragraph, you can go and read on your own. Okay, moving further, here you can see this is the Madre de Dios, and they have actually discussed one river, that is river Manu. Okay, now if ever UPSC ask you about the river Manu that is in South America, okay, and not in India, by the name of the Manu, just don't mark that. Okay, so please remember that this is in South America. Okay, and this river is the place around which these communities are living. Okay, now here you can say this is the Madre de Dios which we are talking about right now, that is in Peru. This is Peru. Okay, here you can see this is Peru over here. Okay, and when we are talking about the South America, Amazons are quite famous over here. Other than that, here you will see that there are various countries, not many countries, but the few important countries are there: Chile, Argentina, Bolivia. We have talked about this. There was this triangle. Okay, so you can remember that. Other than that, when we are talking about the countries like Bolivia and Paraguay, these are the landlocked countries in South America. So please remember that. UPSC has asked about it in the previous questions as well. They might ask you again. Okay, so this is about this particular thing. Other than that, you must be aware of the donkey route which we have talked about. Okay, so these Venezuela, Guyana, these are the countries which are famous for the donkey route as well. Okay, so that is there. Now moving further, last part, that is basically for your own read. There is this article, accumulation of the food prices pressure threatens inflation outlook, RBI bulletin. Okay, basically we have discussed this particular article in Focus. You can go and watch that. Okay, other than that, there is then another article which is related to what happens to your brain when you consume magic mushrooms. Okay, so there is this magic mushroom, in that we have this particular, you can say, compound that is called as psilocybin. Okay, so this compound over here, this is giving you a kind of hallucination kind of thing. Okay, so that happens when you are consuming this particular you can say compound. The brain, the nervous system, when we are talking about, there are various neurons which are there inside the brain, and these neurons are getting activated. Okay, and this effect of this particular drug or this particular compound will be there for like 1 or 2 hours, but the thing is, the minor impact you will be experiencing till a week. Okay, so you can go through this particular article. Just remember this name, that is, again I'll write it for you, that is psilocybin. Okay, so that is there. So that is about this article. Now moving further, for your practice, there is this question: which of the below given country is landlocked? Chile, Argentina, Bolivia or Peru? We have discussed about it, so you can attempt this question, answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.